Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Today we're talking to the salespeople out there. And by the way, if you didn't know, you are a salesperson. Even if you don't have a job, you're a salesperson. It's just you haven't been able to make the sale to get a job. If you're an entrepreneur selling courses, you're a salesperson. If you write books, somebody got to read those books. And the only way they can read it is say, buy the book. You're a salesperson. If you're an athlete trying to get a scholarship, you're selling yourself for that scholarship. If you're trying to play pro, you're selling yourself to get that contract. We are all salespeople. If you're single, trying to get in a relationship, you're a salesperson. If you're on a dating app, the Bumble, what's the other one, Tinder, and whatever else they got out there, and you're trying to meet a guy or a girl or something in between for the night, that is a sale. We are all sales people. Now, in this particular video, I want to talk about specifically selling when we're talking about exchanging whatever you have to offer for money. How do you raise your prices? When do you raise your prices? What is the mentality behind raising your prices for anybody who is in the sales industry? I'm going to tell you 3 specific things that you do to raise your prices. So any of you out there, whatever form of sales you're doing, if you want to get more money in exchange for your intellectual property, for your products, your services, your goods, your offerings, whatever you're doing, here is how you do it. And understand that this is, a lot of this is more mentality than it is actual skill, than it is actual, quote unquote proof or actual, objective, hey, here's why I'm worth this much money. That's not really the way the sales game works. I want everyone to remember one thing. Price is a story. I'm gonna do a video on this in the future, but price, how much something costs, is all based on the story that you have in your mind. The story of the person who is buying it and the story of the person who is selling it. If you get people to believe in your story, they will pay the price. If they don't believe the story, they won't pay the price. Simple as that. Now let me give you the points. I already gave you game right there. Let me give you the points. Number 1, here's when you raise your price. How do you know when to raise your prices? People give different formulas on this. Some people say, after you have this much proof, or you got this much evidence, or if you want to do, if you got a whole lot of clients right now, you want to have fewer clients, raise your price, because then fewer people will be able to pay the price. And people have all these different formulas for when you raise your price. I'm gonna keep it real simple for you when to raise your price. Every single time you gather proof that you are proven at this level, now you have enough of a reason to raise your price to the next level. When I'm in professional speaking, for example, when I proved myself at the $0 level, when I first got started, I was doing speaking gigs for free. And there are have been many times over the years from when I first got started where if the opportunity was right, I might do a gig where I wasn't getting paid because I felt like I would be in front of an audience of the right type of people who could pay me. So I might go speak somewhere and not get paid, but somebody in that audience, they can pay, so it was worth it. It was a good investment for me, and that happened many times. I actually got the deal for my book, Work on Your Game, through doing a speaking gig for which I wasn't even paid. Wrote about it in the book, Work on Your Game itself. And the whole thing is this. Every time I prove myself, though, at whatever level, now I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to charge a little bit more. If I prove myself at the $100 level, then next time I'm going to charge $200. Prove myself at $500, next time I'll charge $1,000. Every time you prove yourself at a certain level that you can deliver there, then raise your price a little bit higher and see if you can prove yourself at that level. See if you can prove yourself to the next level of individual. And here's the thing again, as I just told you earlier, price being a story is not really about is your objective skill good enough to be worth X number of dollars. That's the way that a lot of us think, but that's not really the way that sales works. That's not the way the economy works. The economy is not based on objective reasoning of, is the economy actually worth this much money? Any of you knows anything about finance knows that most of the money that we talk about here, at least in the United States, that money does not actually exist. It's fiat money. It's all in our minds. We believe in the economy. We believe in the U.S. government. And because we trust in it, we believe that this $1 bill is worth $1 and the 20 is worth 20. But is their goal to back every single dollar that's in the economy? Absolutely not. That's why the United States is in debt, but billions and trillions of dollars. It's not real money. It's all a story. It's a story in our minds. And there's going to be a day, hopefully it's a day after all of us are long gone. Hopefully it never happens, but there will be a day, I predict, when the people of the world and the country lose trust in the American government. The story no longer sells, and that money is worthless. And that's what they call a depression or a recession, or it might be complete tyranny out this bitch, and all kinds of things are going to go on because it's all about the story. So every time you prove yourself at a certain level, raise your value. And again, I want to tell you the key word of this: proving yourself, meaning You got to have a testimonial. You got to have a video. You got to have something on your resume. You got to have some third-party documentation that proves that you actually did the thing. So you saying that you did it is not proof. All right, you got to have something that you can show to somebody in black and white that they can objectively look at it and say, okay, you did your thing right there. So if I give a speech somewhere, I'm making sure I'm getting that speech on camera. I'm getting it on film. So now I can show it. I can put it on my website and say, yo, you see that right there? All right, now I did that for free. So I ain't doing another one for free because that's what I do for free. So now you got to pay me. Now it's going to cost you $2,000. All right, I did that. All right, now it's going to cost you $5. All right, I did that. Now it costs $10. I did that. All right, my price is $15. So every time you prove yourself, proof. Something that you can show to somebody, not just something that you said. Number two, what about when somebody challenges you and they say, well, Dre, I get that that's how much you want. You want $15,000, you want $2, you want $17 this time around. Why is your price your price? So why are you worth that much? And this is a really good question. And this is a question that you should be able to answer. I'm going to tell you what you say when anybody ever asks you this question. Why are you worth this much money? Why is it that this person gives a speech and they get $15,000? How can 60 minutes worth of talking be worth $15,000? How is that even possible? Let me tell you why that's possible. Because what people are paying for is not the 60 minutes of your speech. People are not paying for, when I have a book and I put that book out, you're not paying for the pages of the book, because the pages, a book itself costs like $2 to print out. All right, even the hardcover books, it might maybe a little bit more than that, but not that much more. I know how much it costs for every single book that I sell, how much it costs us to print the book out, and is way less than how much we actually charge for the book, because if it wasn't, then we wouldn't be making any money. How is it that Nike, I got some Nikes on right now. I don't know how much these Nikes cost at retail. I got them at a good discount, but the retail price of these Nikes I got on, these Penny Hardaways, was $200. How much it cost Nike to actually make this pair of shoes? Like $2. So how would they have a $198 markup on the shoe? Because you are not paying for the actual item. What you are paying for is the amount of time, effort, attention, and energy and focus that went into building up the value and getting to the position where that person can share what they share. The reason Nike could charge you $200 for a pair of sneakers that cost them $2 to make is because of the years that they spent building the brand of Nike to the point that you're looking for a pair of Nikes. What you're paying for is the brand. You're not paying for the actual shoe. When you pay $2 for the shoe, you're paying $198 for the brand. If you hire somebody, you hire me to do a speaking gig and I charge you 15 grand, you're paying me, how much does it cost for that hour? Not 15 grand. I say an hour is going to cost you, I don't know. How do you even put a dollar sign on that? You don't. You're paying me 15 grand for the 15 plus years that it took me to learn what I learned, to build up my brand, to create my intellectual property, to build the value on what I share, and to the game that I'm going to give to your audience, how I'm going to make your audience feel. That's what you're paying for. There is no direct dollar amount that you can put on that, so I choose the dollar amount. Why do I choose the dollar amount? Because I'm the one who built the brand, because I'm the salesperson, because I'm the one who created the story around what I do. And I already told you, price is a story. So as long as I can sell you that story, you will give me that 15 grand. I'll give my speech, everybody wins, and we all live happily ever after. So anytime somebody asks you, why is your price, tell them they are not paying for the actual object. What they're paying for is all the time it took you to learn what you know and to do what you've done to the point that you can offer the object. They are not paying for the object itself. And number three, here's something you should remember about selling when this whole concept around raising your price. Because right now you're probably thinking, some of you are probably thinking, Dre, that sounds great and I really want to do it, but I'm not sure people are willing to pay that price. I'm not sure people are willing to pay me 10 times more than what I'm charging right now. I'm not sure. Right now I'm charging $3. I'm not sure people will pay 30 for the exact same thing. How am I even going to get 30 when I'm used to charging $3? If somebody's going to say, well, I'm used to paying you $3, now you want 30, that makes no sense. But what am I going to do, Dre? Let me tell you what you do. You need to understand that there's a whole population of people out there who are not only willing, but also able to pay you 10 times what you're charging right now. Whatever number you're charging, there are people out there who are willing and able to pay 10 times that. Now, what you might need to do that may be uncomfortable for you is get away from the people who are paying you $3 to go find the people who will pay 30. What you might need to do is stop hanging with the people who are charging $10 and go hang with some people who are charging 100. Because I guarantee you, they'll show you where to find those other individuals. So you got to be willing to get uncomfortable so you can get into a better space. So the people who are right now paying you 1x To get the 10x, it's probably not going to be the same people. So you're absolutely right now to think that maybe that's not going to work with your current audience. You're right. It won't work with your current audience. The people who are freeloading, they only take up all your free shit, but they won't buy nothing. All right, you got to get with a whole different audience of people if you want to sell something. Why? Because those same people ain't going to 10x. Most people in life do not 10x their level. They stay pretty much where they at. So instead of trying to convince people who are at the 1x level to get to the 10x level, stop doing that. That won't work. Go find people who are already at the 10x level and just plant yourself there. Go buy a house where the 10x people are at, so you ain't got to do all that extra work of trying to convince people to change, because convincing people to change is a bad idea. Why? Because the shit does not work. All that being said, let me recap these points. And again, remember what I told you in that third point. You're a salesperson. So you got it. The biggest sale you ever make is to yourself. Not to the customer, not to everybody else, but to you. If you can't sell yourself that you are worth 10x, then you'll never be able to get 10x. And I'll probably do a video on that sometime in the future as well. So 3 things here about raising your prices. Number 1, every time you prove yourself, and you have to have actual tangible proof that you got better, that you proved yourself at a certain level. Every time you get proof, raise your price. That is enough reason to raise your price. Number 2, when somebody asks you, why are you worth what you're worth? Understand, and you can explain to them, they are not paying for the actual thing. They're not paying for the actual book or the sneaker or the speech. What they're paying for are the years that it took you to build your brand, build your intellectual property, build your value, build your worth. That's what they're paying for. They are not paying for the actual thing itself. Now, number 3, how are you going to get people to pay at that level, since they're not paying at that level right now? So you got to go find completely different people. You're probably not going to get a person to go from the level 1 to level 10 in their lifetime. Most people don't do it. There are a few people who will, but most people won't. So don't try to convince them to change. All you need to do is go find the people who are already where you want to be and start hanging around those people. You got to get in some new environments. You want something different, you got to do something different. Everybody's heard that before, right? If you haven't gotten your free copy of my book called The Mirror of Motivation, or get you started on all of this, click the link down below. It's mirrorofmotivation.com, so we can start helping you get your mind right, get to the space you want to be. And send me a text message. My text number is 305-384-6894. That number is down in the description as well. 305-384-6894. Work on your game. Dre, all